bifocals. Bifocals. Good evening. Time seems to have run away with me. Welcome all. I'm Franklin, by the way. Your president has invited me here on what you're calling Constitution Day. That's a nice ring to it. To talk to you a little bit about myself and read to you a little of the thoughts that I've thought, and most importantly, talk about that most important document after which this day has been named. Bifocals. I invented these bifocals. Yeah, no, I did. Yes, seems to fit my most famously frugal nature. I mean, why buy one pair of glasses? I mean, two pairs of glasses when one will do, yes? And the music you heard coming in here just now, that very haunting instrument's called a glass harmonica. Yes, I invented that too. Again, very frugal, never needs tuning, a very good time saver. Now, I understand that Mozart and Beethoven both composed music for my glass harmonica, although I suppose there's not much use for it in your musical scene today. Yeah. Now, you should all know that for we, the founders, the writers of the Declaration of Independence, and especially the Constitution, happiness was a very large issue for us, very important. We thought, for instance, so important that we made sure that the Constitution allowed you the opportunity to pursue happiness. Of course, the only problem is you have to catch it yourself. Writing the Declaration of Independence, there were three primary minds at work. One, John Adams of Massachusetts. Second, Thomas Jefferson of Virginia. And the third, a fat old gouty man from Pennsylvania named Benjamin Franklin. Now, Adams was not a writer by his trade. He was an agitator and a rabble-rouser, and that's what he did. Mostly he agitated Jefferson to keep writing, and agitated the rest of the Congress to agree to sign the damn thing once it was finished. Franklin, on the other hand, slept in a corner for most of the time, only to rouse himself occasionally to bring some deeply philosophical addition to the document, or at least some bit of Poor Richard's wisdom. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That was mine. I felt it was important that we put that in there so that everyone knew right from the beginning that the rights that we were demanding did not come from a king. They did not come from a parliament or from any man. They did not come from philosophies, from no part of Roman Stoicism. They did not even come from God, but they came from nature. They were nature's rights and nature's truths, and that they were inalienable and self-evident. And I did that because I knew the moment I died, some fool would try to give them away if we didn't make it clear that it was impossible to do so. Now, once we got the document written, we had dickens of a time getting it signed. And even peace-loving Franklin had to stand in front of the Continental Congress and say, Mr. President, may I be heard? No. Gentlemen, they who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Gentlemen, Mr. President, gentlemen, we must all hang together, or we will assuredly all hang separately. And by the grace of whatever power you believe in, we signed the Declaration of Independence, and we fought a war, and we had a nation. And within 10 years, it was all on the verge of collapse because we didn't have a governing document that could hold it all together. In the summer of 1787, 55 men from 12 colonies, Rhode Island refused to send any delegates. Rhode Island spent 116 days in the hottest, most humid summer in the history of Philadelphia, and if you've ever spent a summer in Philadelphia, you know of what I speak. Now, there were many great men as part of this Constitutional Congress. George Washington was there, Alexander Hamilton was there, but two of our great and most important voices, John Adams, who was in England trying to keep the English from declaring war upon us, and Thomas Jefferson, who was in France trying to get trade documents signed so that the economy of the United States did not collapse, were missing. But a fat old Pennsylvanian, also suffering from gout, was part of this as well. But my gout at this time was so bad that some days I couldn't even attend the Congress, and on the days that I could, a friend of mine would get up in the morning and run to the local prison and get 4 strapping chaps, and they would come back to my house, and I would be carried through the streets of Philadelphia on a sedan chair to go to the convention. And there I would sit, and there I would listen, and for 116 days we plotted, and we talked, and we argued. There was contentious discussion and painful compromises, and often lacks of compromises. Fights would break out, and oftentimes delegates would leave the chamber, sometimes never to return. And when I felt that we were on the verge of collapse, I made this speech. Mr. President, the small progress that we have made after 4 or 5 weeks close attendance and continual reasoning with each other, our different sentiments on almost every question, several of the last producing as many no's as ayes, is, methinks, a melancholy proof of the imperfection of human understanding. We indeed seem to feel our own lack of political wisdom, some we've been running about in search of. We've gone back to ancient history for models of government and examined the different forms of those republics which, having been formed with the seeds of their own dissolution, now no longer exist. And we viewed the modern states all around Europe, but find none of their constitutions suitable to our circumstances. In this situation of this assembly, groping as we are in the dark to find political truth and scarcely able to distinguish it when presented to us, how has it happened, sir, that we have not hitherto once thought of humbly applying to the Father of lights to illuminate our understandings? If a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? We have been assured, sir, in the sacred writings that except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Now, I believe this, firmly believe this, and I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall succeed this political building no better than the builders of Babel. We shall be divided by our little partial local interests. Our projects will be confounded, and we ourselves shall become a reproach and a byword down to future ages. And what is worse, gentlemen, mankind may hereafter from this unfortunate incident despair of establishing governments by human wisdom and leave it to chance, war, and conquest. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven and its blessings on our deliberations be held in this assembly every morning before we proceed to business, and that one or more of the clergy of this city be requested to officiate in that service. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and the blessings of this liberty for ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. When we left the convention hall, a woman, quite frantic, came up to me. I knew her. She was the wife of the mayor of Philadelphia. And she said, Dr. Franklin, what have you done? What kind of government do we have? Is it a republic or a monarchy? And I said, my dear woman, it's a republic, if you can keep it. I am, of course, long gone from this earth, but in the depths of my heart, I still hold pride for what we did that summer in Philadelphia. It was not gotten without all the pains of birthing a new nation. And it will not be kept if each and every American does not take a personal responsibility to continue it. And so, I wish you all continued joy in your republic. If you can keep it.